Join us right now, Republican Senator Mike Rounds. He's going to be moderating the AI forum today with Leader Schumer. Good morning to you. Trying to understand what you are hoping to get out of this and also what you make of some of the criticism and critiques from folks like Hawley.
Well, I think that the other members of the Senate have a real desire to learn as much as possible about it. They've all got different ideas about how it should be done. We simply wanted to bring in these individuals who are directly related with AI on all sides of the issue, and to have them speak directly and candidly with as many members of the Senate as we could possibly get in one room. We're not going to get all 100 members there for a 7-hour session, but we hope that between them and a number of members of their staff that we would get a pretty good showing. In the meantime, the individuals that are there can share on a candid basis what they see moving forward. And we knew that if we opened it up to begin with, they would all start out with a canned opening statement, and that's about as far as we'd get. We want to be candid. We'll have other educational seminars like this, and the vast majority of those will all be open with cameras allowed. But on this particular one, we thought we wanted to start out with something special for the members to try to draw their attention and have them be actively engaged.
Very unusually, folks like Sam Altman, who's behind OpenAI, and so many others in this space have talked quite publicly already about what they think of as the need for regulation of their own industry. It's a unique scenario and situation because typically leaders of industry don't call for regulations of themselves. What do you make of that? Do you think that that is genuine? And if so, what does that mean? Or do you think that that's an effort actually to stall regulation?
No, I think it is genuine. I think, first of all, you've got lots of different opinions about how much regulation and who should regulate. We wanted to start out by making sure that all of these individuals and the folks that are in the AI industry recognize that the United States is the place to develop AI. We don't want it being developed elsewhere. We want it being developed here. We think the benefits of that are substantial for our citizens, and long term it's the right thing to do. But with that comes a responsibility to do it in such a fashion that everybody knows the playing field and what the rules are on the playing field. We decided in many cases that a lot of the committees that we've got have particular expertise in specific areas. Judiciary Committee, the Commerce Committee, the Armed Services Committee, and we wanted them to also feel that they're playing a major role in looking at whether or not what type of regulatory response they would be responsible for. So rather than trying to do a single committee out there, I think the vast majority of us would like to have the individual committees themselves actually participate in looking on a committee-by-committee basis what the regulations are in their particular areas and how they should be adopted.
There's a sense among those who are skeptical about meetings like this that this is all theater, and that, in fact, given all of the conversations that have been taking place in Washington for more than a decade now around regulating social media, which really deals with First Amendment issues in so many respects, which are similar, I think, though different to some degree as it relates to AI, that if government couldn't come to a conclusion around social media, how in the world are they going to come to a conclusion around AI?
It's the reason that we wanted to join together in a bipartisan fashion to start this out and to keep it bipartisan, not just bicker back and forth. I think Senator Schumer, Senator Heinrich, Senator Young, and I have tried to make this as bipartisan as possible. We don't want politics to get in the way of it. We want to get as much education for our members as possible, and then to share with them not just the opportunities, but the threats as well. And if we can do that, then I think the members will rise to the occasion. And look, you know, Winston Churchill said that America will always do the right thing after they've tried everything else first. Right. In this particular case, we'd like to try to get there a little bit quicker. But
hasn't this already been politicized?
The promise is really special.